Hey, fourth grade, welcome to day 2 of reading for the week. And not only is it day 2, but it is your final day of work this week. So that's awesome. Happy Easter to all of you. I hope you enjoy time with your family and some needed time off from school. So we are reading Jackie Robinson again today, chapter 4. We went over the comprehension questions on my video that I posted yesterday. So if you don't remember what those are, you can always go back to that video and watch the end of that, okay? Make sure you're 2-finger tracking, and when I stop, I will ask questions, pause the video, and restart it when you're ready to go. I know a lot of you have been liking these videos, so that is awesome. I like that feedback. Anything else that I can do to help you out, please let me know. I'm always here, okay? So this is chapter 4, Jackie Robinson. In 1941, Jackie Robinson was a big college star, but his family was still poor. His brother Mac could only find odd jobs, like cleaning up yards. A couple of years before, Mac had been the pride of the United States, winner of a medal in the Olympics. But now, he couldn't even get a decent job. Why? Because he was black, and there weren't many good jobs for black people. Okay, pause there. What university was Jackie Robinson attending? Think back to last story. What medal had Mac won in the Olympics? What were the only kinds of jobs that Mac could get? Based on what happened to Mac, how do you think Robinson might feel about continuing with sports and why? So think back to what Mac accomplished in the Olympics and now the type of jobs that he could get. Okay, let's keep reading. Robinson thought about his family and said to himself, "There is no point in continuing with this sports career. What would he get for the hours he put into practicing? What difference would it make that he had more sports talent than just about anybody in the world? He was black, and only black players, and black players didn't play Major League Baseball, Major League Football, or any other Major League sport. They could only play in the Negro Leagues. The players in those leagues didn't earn much money, and they led a tough life. So Robinson quit school and took a job and then another job. Then on Sunday, December 7th, 1941, something terrible happened. The Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, which is in Hawaii. On the same day, the United States declared war against Japan and Germany. The United States was now fighting in World War II. Okay, pause there. Why did Robinson decide to quit school? What event prompted the United States to declare war? All right, let's keep reading. The day the United States entered World War II was a sad day. I remember sitting by the radio all day long listening to the news. At first, we figured that the war would be over in a couple of months, but it lasted until 1945. In the spring of 1942, Robinson joined the United States Army. He was such a strong leader that he became an officer at the Army camp in Kansas. Black soldiers at the camp weren't allowed to sit next to white soldiers in the snack bar. Instead, the black soldiers had to eat in a small section that didn't have enough seats. Robinson complained to the Army about the way black soldiers were treated at the camp. Finally, the Army increased the number of seats for black soldiers, but they still had to eat in their own section. Okay, pause there. After Robinson joined the Army, why was he made an officer? What problem did black soldiers have at the snack bar? How did Robinson solve part of that problem? Which part of the problem still remained? Okay, we are at the diamond. When Robinson got out of the Army in 1944, he wanted to marry a young woman named Ray. She was studying to be a nurse. and she had known Robinson since he'd been at UCLA. Ray lived in California, and Robinson wanted to be near her, but he couldn't get a good sports job in California. So in 1945, he went to Kansas City and took a job with the most famous Negro League team, the Kansas City Monarchs. For the first time in his life, Robinson earned good money, $400 a month. That was more money than Robinson had ever seen. But when the Monarchs went from city to city, it was the same old story. The team could not stay in the same hotels white people stayed in. Often the players had to sleep in the team bus. In some cities, the players couldn't even eat in restaurants because the restaurants were restricted to white people. So the players ate sandwiches on the bus. After a while, Robinson got tired of traveling with the Monarchs. He didn't get to see Ray very often because he was moving around all the time. So he finally decided to quit the Monarchs, go back to California, and try to get a job there. In the back of his mind, he had a great desire to play Major League Baseball, but that didn't seem possible. To Robinson, it seemed that as long as he stayed in baseball, he would go from city to city in the Monarchs bus and feel like somebody who didn't really belong. Okay, we're gonna pause there and I'll ask a few questions. What was the name of the Negro League team that Robinson played for? How much money did Robinson earn with the Monarchs? Why do you think he didn't want to stay with the Kansas City Monarchs? What were some of the problems the Monarchs had when they went from city to city? Okay, let's keep going. Just when Robinson made up his mind to quit the Monarchs, something happened that changed his whole life. The Monarchs were playing in Chicago. One of the scouts from the Brooklyn Dodgers told Robinson that Branch Rickey, general manager of the Dodgers, was thinking of starting a new league for black players. The scout told Robinson that this league would pay the players more money and offer better living conditions. Robinson was interested, so he agreed to meet with Rickey. Rickey wasn't really thinking of forming a new league. Instead, he wanted his scouts to find one outstanding black baseball player. This player had to have enough courage to stand up against the trouble he would experience as the first black player in the major leagues. Rickey wanted a player who could thrill the crowd with his skill. He wanted a player who would be a leader and who wouldn't quit. Rickey had been looking at many black players, but when he met with Jackie Robinson, he knew he had found the right man. He already knew a lot about Robinson from his scouts reports. He knew Robinson was smart, that he was brave, and that his coaches admired him. Imagine how Robinson felt on that day in Brooklyn when he walked into Rickey's office. Robinson had almost accepted the idea that he would never play in the major leagues. Imagine how he felt when he heard Rickey say, "I'll tell you the real reason you're here. You were brought here to play for the Dodger organization. I want you to start with our top minor league team, the Montreal Royals. If you do well, you'll get to play for the Brooklyn Dodgers." Robinson sat there shocked, trying to make sense out of what Rickey had told him. The Montreal Royals were the best minor league team in the whole Dodger organization. Every year, the best players from the Royals and other minor league teams would move up to the major leagues. Then Rickey and Robinson talked about how hard it would be for Robinson to be the first black player in the major leagues. Rickey said, "I need someone who is strong enough to take insults without fighting back." He told Robinson that white people would be watching him. If Robinson got into the slightest trouble, many of them would blame him, regardless of whose fault the trouble really was. "It's not going to be easy," Rickey said, and it certainly wasn't. All right, I'll finish up with a few questions. When Robinson was in Chicago, a scout approached him. Think back to what we talked about yesterday in our vocabulary. What does a scout do? What is the purpose of a scout? Who was the general manager of the Brooklyn Dodgers? Why was Ricky looking for outstanding black players? What was the purpose of that? Which team in the Brooklyn organization would Robinson start playing for? Ricky wanted a black player who was strong enough to do something. What did he have to be strong enough to do? What would happen if Robinson got into the slightest trouble? All right. In the past, I can't remember if I told you this in my last video, but I would play little YouTube videos that really talked about Jackie Robinson's life that helped students understand more and kind of get more visualization. So I'm going to share some videos today in the class story link so you can watch those. They should help you because they'll go over a lot of the information that we have read about and even information in the future stories that we will read. All right. Okay. Again, have a happy Easter. And I will see you again. Bye.